This is CBC Here and Now.
Well, it's a beautiful night, but how long are these mild temperatures going to stick around?
What looks just like a pile of dirt carries way more value.
Our demand has grown, I would say, well up over 80%.
I'll dig into that story coming up on Here and Now.
Well, they're very popular with the tourists and they're hoping for a busy summer season. The band Aweigh is back performing in Rocky Harbour this summer.
Oh, it's the most fun you're ever going to have with your clothes on.
For people too, they've been missing live shows.
Yeah.
We'll talk about all things COVID and performing.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Anthony Germain.
And I'm Carolyn Stokes. Police are under fire tonight for their handling of a mental health crisis. Officers put a 7-year-old child into handcuffs. It happened at a shelter for victims of family violence.
The province's child youth advocate says young children in crisis need help, not handcuffs. And she spoke with Here and Now's Jeremy Eaton.
I think it's really important that when you're looking at traumatized children and mental health episodes, it's really, really important that children's best interests are first and foremost in any responses and decisions that are being made. And I think in this case, a specialized mental health response is really important. And I think the province moving in the direction that it is in terms of expanding specialized mental health responses, I think that's really positive. However, with those professionals who are responding and they're being tasked with going into these very delicate, difficult, sensitive situations, every effort must be made to ensure that they're properly trained and that they have the resources and equipment. And in this case, the equipment is their knowledge. It is their intervention strategies. And when we did this investigation, we found that that was missing.
In your opinion, do you think that this situation was handled properly?
I think there's a lot of things that could be done differently, and I think the recommendations will, move in that direction in terms of making sure in the future that children receive better services and that their rights are better protected.
What recommendations did you make following this investigation?
There was 2 recommendations. They're pretty straightforward. The first one is enhance the training. Make sure that these professionals who are working with children in mental health crisis, that they are well informed in terms of developmental issues of children. They can respond with a trauma-informed response and practice. They're working from best practices and working with children, and that they understand children's rights. The second recommendation is to the Department of Justice and Public Safety and to the Department of Health and Community Services to bring together the police forces and the regional health authorities and have a really good discussion and make a conscious decision as to whether these mental health response teams are meant to respond to young children. Right now, we know that they will respond to any age group, but what we know also is that there's very few calls for service for young children. So there's very little experience there, and there's very little training in terms of focusing on children. So if they're going to do that work, it's really important that they're trained properly. So I've asked the departments to bring together the health authorities and the police to make a conscious decision as to whether this model is intended for children and to resource and support it properly. And if there's an alternate model that they're going to use for children, we'll make sure that that's resourced properly as well. This was a fairly unique situation. Now, it's very concerning, and we know that this is a systemic issue because the training is not there for any of these people who do this work, and so there's the potential for this to unfold again without the proper training, policy, support, supervision, mentoring, those kinds of things. So there's an opportunity here to shift gears and to do things better for children in mental health responses. And the other thing, Jeremy, I think it's really important to recognize is that in the fall, the province announced that it would be expanding this mental health team response. And the RCMP now will be new partners, and there's going to be 3 new locations where the RCMP will be expanding this particular type of model. So the recommendations in this report, I think, will be really valuable in terms of informing the existing teams to be able to move forward and to better respond to children. And I think if these recommendations are incorporated into the new teams that are being established, I think they'll do better work.
Well, a Natwashish family says they haven't seen their 22-year-old daughter in nearly a month. Police believe Faith Rich was last seen along Northwest River Road on June 15th. The young woman's mother and a group of volunteers are searching along that stretch of road. Rich is about 5 feet 5 inches tall, 140 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Mary Rich says it's not like her daughter to go this long without getting in touch.
I talked to a lot of people in Shesh and Goose that I see, and they told me they only see her in 3 weeks ago. That's when the last time they saw her. I don't know where my daughter went. It worries me now. It's been a long time now.
Faith Rich was last seen on the road between Sheheshi and Happy Valley Goose Bay. Anastasia Cupie is involved in the search, and she joins me now from Sheheshi on that road that I just mentioned. So, Anastasia, what is the latest information that you can share about the search for Faith Rich?
Well, what's currently happening is that there's search teams here on the main highway going from Goose Bay to Shehajit. And the search is taking place closer to the Goose Bay, and we have search teams from Natwashish that arrived here on Monday, and our team from Shehajit here started searching Monday as well with the other teams, and we have the ground search and rescue from Happy Valley Goose Bay as well who are involved. Our CMP, the Shehajit Detachment, Happy Valley Goose Bay Detachment, and also the Happy Valley Town Cop is also been helpful as well.
So it certainly sounds though a lot of people are looking for her. Do we know much about where Faith was traveling from and where people believe she was headed?
There's been like people that have called in and saying that they've seen her in Happy Valley Goose Bay, they've seen her in Shehajit, they've seen her walking on the highway, and the last possible potential sighting was last Sunday. So we have the RCMP following up with that, and so the RCMP is trying to narrow a time frame, and they're conducting their interviews of people coming forward with information.
Okay, well, last Sunday is new information. Has the search discovered any clues of any kind, any belongings or notes or any information at all?
I think that's what the RCMP, people that have come forward with any information of possible sightings, of what she was wearing. I think this is what they're trying to gather more information, and so it's whatever people come forward with. RCMP are following up.
All right, Anastasia Cupie, I know that you're busy along with everybody else in the search. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
And as you just heard, volunteers and the family are urging anyone with information about Faith Rich's whereabouts to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
To other news now, there are no new cases of COVID-19 in the province, but there are 3 new cases aboard that second ship anchored in Conception Bay. 8 of the crew members have tested positive for the virus, and 1 of them's in hospital. Testing of the entire crew is ongoing. All crew members are isolating. Now, on the first ship announced earlier this month, there remains 14 confirmed cases on board. Public Health says everyone involved is abiding by public health orders, and there is no risk to public safety.
Well, it's a beautiful evening lakeside here at Quidi Vidi. Lots on the go, lots of people walking around. We've got some rowers back there as well, and what a beautiful evening for that. We're seeing some nice conditions across most of the province today. In fact, the warm temperatures up across Labrador, coastal Labrador, seeing record-breaking temperatures. Let's take a look at those right now. So far today, Makkovik was the hot spot across the province. 34.1 degrees is what you reached earlier this afternoon. That broke the record from 2000 of 33.5, at least from what I can find. Cartwright up there as well, 33.8. Hopedale at 31.4, and we saw other areas seeing temperatures anywhere from 28 to 30 degrees. So we are seeing these mild temperatures. In fact, it's the warmest anomaly temperature across North America this afternoon. Now, they're not going to stick around. We are going to see those temperatures drop over the next couple of days, but I'll get into all the details when I come back.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, police have charged a man with dangerous driving after he was spotted traveling more than twice the speed limit near Middle Gull Pond on the Trans-Canada Highway. Police shared this photo, and it shows the speed that police say the Dodge Challenger in the photo reached as it headed east, and that speed, 232 kilometers per hour. Police stopped the driver, a 24-year-old man from Pasadena. On top of being charged for dangerous driving, he's also accused of excessive speeding and imprudent driving under the Highway Traffic Act. They suspended the man's license and seized and impounded the Dodge Challenger. Now the driver is set to appear in provincial court in St. John's in the fall.
Well, you can find them in backyards and lawns. Not everyone is fond of the wiggly creatures, but demand for them has grown since the pandemic. I'm talking about worms. Here now's Henrika Wilhelm digs into the growing trend.
From lumber to bread to workout equipment, many products have experienced a spike in popularity during the pandemic. But what about worms? Turns out they've taken off too, especially on social media.
We will sell them all through the summer season, and we usually go about 100 to 150 pounds, especially since COVID, like I mentioned. Our demand has grown, I would say, well up over 80% in substantial growth.
Here in Bay Bulls, Trouter's Special Worm Farm is the only commercial-scale farm of its kind in the province. It even ships worms to the mainland. So what is it about worms? They have a special talent for turning food waste into fertile soil, a process called vermicomposting. And that talent has its price, $55 per pound.
Your worms would then eat through that organic material, and what they excrete then is their castings.
So what exactly is the nutritional value of the soil worms produce? And what is the difference to a normal compost bin? I went to the botanical garden in St. John's to find out.
The worm castings are very concentrated compost and very high in nutrients. Now, really what they're pooping out is what they're eating. So whatever we're putting into our bin is going to say what you're going to be getting out of it. For most plants, adding compost is going to help make any plant happy. Most plants.
Worms don't eat through weeds per se. Sometimes when you get manures and stuff, you worry about the weed issues.
But not all worms are the same. The European red wiggler is the go-to worm for composting.
These worms are always working in the top inches of your soil and eating that organic matter, where some worms just move away and don't look for that. You can pick many worms from your garden, but not all will be successful in what you're trying to achieve.
Composting worms have a list of needs: the right temperature, the right type and amount of food, and the right level of moisture.
They're like pets, and they have requirements. If they're not happy with their environment that they're living in, they try to leave.
If you're looking to treat your vegetables to something special, these new pets might just be what you've been looking for. Henrika Wilhelm, CBC News, St. John's.
Oh, pet worms.
There you go.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, to the west coast of the island now, where the typical summer tourism season is not so typical.
But one well-known musical group in Rocky Harbour is trying to find its groove. Here now's Colleen Connors explains.
Well, this very colorful hotel, the Ocean View in the center of Rocky Harbour, is back open for business after being closed for 18 months. Staff are back inside getting the rooms ready and sanitizing for what is to be hopefully a very busy summer season. And right through these doors behind me is another Gross Mourn staple. The band Anchors Aweigh are back performing to the public. I got the chance to speak with some of the members of the band about what it's been like to take such a big break and what it's like back performing during all of these COVID health restrictions.
Oh, it's the most fun you're ever going to have with your clothes on. I can guarantee you that.
And it goes like this. Fare thee well, my pretty little girl, I must sail away. Fare thee well, my pretty little girl, I must sail away. Fare thee well, pretty little girl, sail away.
This lively group performed traditional Newfoundland songs with a twist, usually to a packed house at the lounge in the hotel. But COVID restrictions forced the Ocean View to shut down all last year. Now, the band is back, performing twice a week.
We found the first night the crowd was into it from the get-go. When we even walked on stage, they started clapping. I think for people too, they've been missing live shows, you know?
Yeah, that's right. People want it. I think it's the first night to get out, to go to any entertainment of any kind, particularly down in our area here in Gross Mourn. This is the first that Friday, last
Well, I
Friday
mean,
night was the
just the
first.
fact getting out is one thing, but getting to see anchors away.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Lucky.
All boasting aside, the group attract a large audience and in past years would perform several nights a week, filling this room with people from all over the world. This summer, well, it's about 75% capacity.
We are getting some bookings now from Ontario.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Since and across Canada. I've noticed, I just checked before I came down here with the girl and reservations, and there's been a number of inquiries, and even some people who've attended the show in the past have emailed us and said they're coming back here this summer. You know.
In a neat little town they call Malta, apprentice to trade and you smile.
For now, the band take the stage Wednesdays and Fridays, and they tell me that shows are starting to sell out.
It's pretty well all Newfoundland Irish traditional music.
The music is important, but I think just the overall vibe is a vibe of a fun vibe.
They may add another night to the lineup in August, when they are expecting more tourists in the area. Pauline Connors, CBC News, Rocky Harbour.
Some night out on the water tonight. The winds have been relatively light most of the afternoon, but they're going to start to pick up as we head through the overnight. I'll get into the full forecast coming up.
Ashley, what a beautiful evening out there tonight. It looks so nice down by Kitty Vitty Lake tonight.
Yeah, it is absolutely gorgeous out here tonight. Generally light winds. It just picked up a little bit right now, but boy, these temperatures have been beautiful for most of the afternoon. Let's take a look at those daytime highs across the board. Here in St. John's, reached a high near 24 degrees earlier today. Now I'm having a little bit of problems with some of the numbers on there. So as far as Labrador goes, the highest temperatures, like I mentioned, Makkovik did hit 34 degrees today. We've got 32 in Happy Valley Goose Bay, and you'll see that temperature will disappear there. But as far as the rest of the province goes across the island, look at those temperatures. 27 in Gander, 25 right now in Corner Brook. So a beautiful evening and not a whole lot happening. Now, if you do look up, you see a little bit of a haze in the sky right now. No cloud cover, but that haze is actually a little bit of some of that forest fire smoke that has moved in. It's really high up in the atmosphere, but the sunset tonight will likely be a little bit more red than usual. So if you do see that, that is what that is from. As far as what's happening across Labrador, we are seeing some cloud cover roll in right now and some showers as well. And that'll be the story as we head through the overnight tonight, as we see that shower activity head towards northern portions of Labrador, as well as towards the west coast as well. Now it's just a slight chance of showers, but that shower chance is still there for the west coast. However, you will see some increasing cloud through the evening hours. Even the southeastern portion of Labrador may see a few showers in the mix. Nothing too much, but that risk is still there. So temperatures tonight going to be absolutely beautiful. 11 to 15 degrees as the overnight lows tonight. Like I mentioned, those winds will pick up a little bit, likely 40, maybe even 50 kilometer per hour wind gusts as we head through the overnight in eastern areas of the island. Those winds will be out of the west. Otherwise, not too much going on. The winds for western Labrador, though, will be out of the south and gusting upwards of 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. But 18 degrees for both Cartwright and Happy Valley Goose Bay as you go through the night. Now, as far as tomorrow goes, it'll be another nice day. Temperatures will dip a little bit for Labrador. We're going to see a lot more cloud cover in play, and also that risk of showers as the day goes on. It shouldn't amount to too much, but that risk is still there. And then for the west coast, you'll see some increasing cloud through the evening, or rather the afternoon hours, and that chance of showers as well. There may be a few cloudy periods towards central as well as eastern areas, but overall it'll be a fairly nice day. The chance of showers will move in as we get into the evening hours, potentially. A few pop-up showers possible, and even more showers possible for Lab West. This is when we could also see the risk of a few thunderstorms as well. So looking at tomorrow's forecast, temperatures should be pretty similar to what we're seeing today in the east anyway. Winds will die down a little bit. You're looking at southwesterlies by the time we get to the afternoon, about 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. So it will be beautiful. Again, some cloudy periods more west of the Avalon, Clarenville, Bonavista area. You'll see some cloudy periods through the afternoon. As you get into central, temperatures should be pretty similar today, maybe even a degree or two warmer, 27 to 29 as your afternoon highs. And then along the south coast, the chance of some showers will move in, and then going to keep those temperatures a little cooler. A little bit further inland, though, you may see a few more degrees, but overall that's what you're looking at. The risk tomorrow maybe of a few rumbles of thunder in the afternoon or evening hours. Going to keep an eye on that one, but for now, just looking at that chance of showers. Temperatures for Port aux Basques about 17 degrees. The further up the west coast you get, though, temperatures should be a little bit warmer. Out of the southwest, your winds about 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. And then for Labrador, much cooler in areas for the southeast. You're looking at Mary's Harbour, 26 degrees. Same thing for Cartwright, but still a beautiful afternoon. However, you are looking at that chance of a few showers in the mix. Much cooler for Nain. Reached a high near 29 degrees today, down about 10 degrees tomorrow is what you're dropping. 19 will be your afternoon high. And then as you head towards Happy Valley Goose Bay, another 30-degree day for you. And then Lab City back into some of that sunshine as the day goes on, and your high near 20. But your winds will be a little breezy, 30 to 50 kilometer per hour winds. So that's a look at tomorrow's forecast. We get into the weekend. Some humidity is going to return, and it's also going to be a little bit unsettled for some places. I'll have all those details when I come back.
Okay, thanks, Ashley. Now, staying with the lake, last night I pressed the head of the Royal St. John's Regatta Committee on the decision to hold the regatta on Wednesday, weather permitting. given that no spectators or stalls are allowed to be there this year.
Yes, and we asked for you to weigh in on whether you'd prefer the regatta be moved to a Monday or Friday this year to give people a long weekend. So for a refresher, here's where the committee stands.
Our motto is let the races be governed by tradition. We had a year last year, the first time in 80, that our continual racing was interrupted. We don't want that interrupted anymore. This is a very unique event to this province. It is the biggest event in our province, and having it on the Wednesday is what makes it so appealing. Our best case scenario is we're going to see a couple of thousand people around the lake on that day. We're doing our best with the crowd control plans to make sure that we can address those crowds, but we do feel as a committee and all the planners that we would get bigger crowds on a weekend or another day.
And a lot of response. You didn't disappoint. Many of you weighed in to say the regatta should move to Monday or Friday, at least for this year, and give residents of St. John's a long weekend since the event can't have any spectators.
Yeah, some went even further, saying we should do away with the weather-dependent Wednesdays.
But there are traditionalists among you who think the city should stick with Wednesdays, so let's take a look. Gary Gorman sent us an email saying, my opinion, Regatta Day, the first Wednesday of August, is as traditional as July 1st, December 25th, and January 1st. Hats off to the committee for respecting the tradition.
Andrea Furlong says, just curious, but the holiday and races can't be separated. Why doesn't the municipal holiday land on the Monday like last year and have the races go ahead, weather permitting, on Wednesday?
And Justin Foote is thinking about all those rowers. He says, I think it's more to do with the rowers. If it's not declared a holiday, then they have to take a personal day, and it's hard to go to the boss and say, I may need the first Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday off.
And Stephen Pretty is thinking longer term. He says, I wish they'd move it all to a weekend in the future and make it a multi-day festival. I'm sure vendors would love it.
Yeah, the Lions Club like that. Yeah. This one comes from Mary Rideout, a regatta participant. She says, so I'm a rower and will need the day off to row in the regatta, but I don't see why we can't have the regatta on Saturday or Sunday, weather dependent, and the holiday Monday.
Interesting point.
All of the races for the season are on a Saturday, just saying.
And Gerard Doran also weighs in. He actually used to work with the regatta to help organize all of the vendors setting up around the lake, and he provides this insight. In 2022, the regatta should be held on the first Monday in August as a trial for 1 year. As past director of ground space, that's directing all the vendors and charities, having the weekend to prepare versus one night would be hugely less stressful.
Yeah, of course. And we'll give the last word to Joyce Ralph, who says that it's important to keep the event's unique tradition in mind. The majority of people wanting it changed would not go to the regatta but leave the city for a long weekend. It's a 200-year-old tradition. We are always talking about our unique culture until it's not convenient. People can use annual leave if they want a long weekend. So certainly a lot to think about there. Thanks for all of you sharing many different points of view with us. Now stay with us. Next, we're talking to a team leader from Natwashish about a big walk across the big land. Some residents in Springdale say the business owner who owns this mess should clean it up. He says he's being bullied.
Me and my family are ostracized. We're public enemy number one. I am, for no reason.
That story's coming up. Some women and girls in Natwashish are giving their muscles a chance to rest after a big walk in the big land. They completed the 8th Women and Girls Expedition Walk, a 65-kilometer trek that starts near Barron Lake. Mary Jane Edmonds is team leader with the event, and she joins us now from Natwashish. So, Mary Jane, how much planning goes into this? Because you have to get to a pretty remote place just to start this walk. Tell me about how you get ready for this.
Well, this is our 8th walk, and it didn't take long for us to plan it. A lot of times, if we do a lot of planning, then we might not end up doing it. So we do a lot of things at the last minute. And because it's our 8th walk, we know what we need on our walks. We know what we're planning for. We know what, we know what to take. So after 8 walk, you get to know the things, what to take and what not to take, because you carry a lot of things on your back, especially in the summer.
So obviously you have to get to Barron Lake. So just for people who don't know anything about this walk, you fly into the location? Is that how it works? Do you bring all the stuff with you?
Yes, there's 2 search and rescue cabins out in Barron Lake, which is about 65 kilometers away from Natwashish by air. So when a plane takes you there straight, it's 65 kilometers. In the winter, it's 75 kilometers by skidoo. But when you're walking, I've been told, by others that it's likely more than 100 kilometers walk from the Barron Lake.
Okay, because obviously you're not going as the crow flies, as we say. What's the combination, the mixture of adults and children, the women and girls on a walk like this? How many did you have? Well, we have repeat walkers that have the experience, of walking on the land, the same path that we've been taking 3 times. And it's a different groups of ages of teenagers and women who's never done this before. Why is it important to have this as an event for women and girls? It's really important because it's going back to the basics. Going back to the basics of where we came from, and where our roots originate. It's going back there specifically, and getting to know the land, getting to know the places, getting to know the stories, the history of the land, and just enjoying the scenery, enjoying other women's company, supporting other women, and giving encouragement, and all those things, that make you a healthier and a stronger woman. For someone who's a leader in the community doing something like this, any highlights on this trip, talking to some of the younger women, some of the teenage girls who are with you? Any highlights that stand out for you? They always, when we're packing to go on a trip, everybody's always excited. There's always excitement. But what they don't know is the hardship of being out in the country, walking out on the land, because everything you carry on your back becomes heavier as you walk. And there's the elements of the weather to consider also, the rain and the snow and the cold, the temperatures, because you're high up in the mountains, and it's like a shock to them because it's so unusual to be out there with nothing else, except what's on your back, and who else is there. Well, I can certainly see a big smile on your face. You obviously enjoy this, and I know it's quite challenging. But thank you very much for your time. I should ask you, how long does it take? How many days did it take you? 8 days. 8 days. Took us 8 days. Okay. Yeah. Well, listen, welcome back. Get some rest, and thank you very much. Thank you. Now, Mary Jane and the other organizers of the walk want to thank the Innu Nation for supporting the walk and providing GPS assistance to make sure that everybody was safe as they made the challenging journey.
There are some big ideas growing right here in Newfoundland and Labrador.
We were going to help people who are not growing things at home and maybe don't have the means to grow them.
CBCNL and the Food Producers Forum have teamed up to bring you a brand new series about the local food movement.
The way it was told to us, there was a gentleman growing it here in Newfoundland. For some reason, the garlic he had got shipped out to British Columbia. We're trying to develop that variety of garlic.
Those diggers, those dreamers and innovators who are building healthy food communities right here at home.
We feel like we are custodians of this special Newfoundland tall variety.
Catch from the ground up on Here and Now, CBC Radio, and online. Take it back to the garden. Well, tonight we're taking you to the community of Gambo, where one young family is living their dream. 2 years ago, Samantha Whitman and Nathan Gidge made a dramatic lifestyle change. They uprooted and bought a piece of land on a hunk of rock and turned it into Kingfisher Farm. Now they're growing organic vegetables and fruits and watching their son grow up in the great outdoors. Have a look.
That's good. We are a small organic farm in central Newfoundland. We're small on purpose. We do intensive growing of specialty crops. So we don't grow your traditional I like to call it the Jigs dinner bag. There's obviously a place for that, but we've decided to go a different route. We grow Japanese turnips, we do specialty greens, 8 types of different tomatoes. So we don't do your typical beefsteak tomato. We do a bunch of hot peppers, black radishes, eggplant. We do a lot of different things with the aim of trying to improve the palate in Newfoundland for what's available, and trying to get people to experience different foods and different tastes, so we can kind of open the door to a new food experience for people.
And I think what's different about the way that we farm is that we focus on the health of the soil. So we really put a lot of emphasis on creating a healthy ecosystem within the soil itself. And from there, we were able to grow really healthy and productive food. But without the soil being healthy, the food doesn't really come to much.
It's all about soil sustainability and health for us. We built a farm on a rock quarry. That's what this place was before we bought it. All our beds are raised beds that we sifted by hand. We mulch. We do organic compost teas. We don't do any pesticides or herbicides, because we feel that when you do that, you not only kill the harmful pests, you also can kill the helpful ones. So it's all about creating a balance above ground and in the ground. We don't feed plants, like Samantha said, we feed soil. So if our soil's happy, our plants are happy. We run a CSA, so a community supported agriculture program. There's a group of members who pay for their membership at the beginning of the year, and then we bring them fruit and vegetables the whole summer. And it's enough to feed a family of 2 plus a child. They get quite a bit.
Squash, melons, cucumber, tomatoes, peppers. It's really whatever is fresh and in season. It comes from the garden, goes directly in baskets, and gets delivered that day.
The community supported agriculture model, it works both for the farmers and for the consumers. So it works for us because we have funds at the beginning of the season rather than at the end of the season when kind of the larger harvest happens, which allows us to invest into more things for the farm.
Part of why we do what we do is because both of us want to help. So we figured, okay, what's the best way to get our food into like the family setting? How can we feed the most people the widest variety of stuff? And the CSA just made sense for us. I mean, it makes sense financially. It makes sense to us on like an ethical, moral kind of thing, in terms of we're providing people with healthy, affordable food. The other thing about it is we want to show people just how much food you can grow in a small space. Like, we're not growing anything any bigger than a front yard in some of the places in St. John's. So it's all about showing people what's possible if you focus on the health of the environment and the soil, rather than going out and buying a bag of fertilizer and throwing it on your bed and kind of hoping that does the job.
We're only working on 1/8 of an acre.
Yeah.
So if we're learning this much on 1/8 of an acre, we probably would have missed a lot of those lessons if we were looking at 10, 20, I mean, some farms are hundreds of acres. So what we learned was pretty substantial, and I really think we would have lost those lessons.
In my previous life, I was a high school educator and principal for a decade. And we kind of looked at each other one day and said, if we're gonna do the farm, let's do it now, kind of thing. And we jumped right in. This is our second year. We decided we wanted to spend more time together as a family. We wanted to live a healthy lifestyle outside. We are not people who want a lot of stuff. We're very happy with what we have, kind of thing. So farming it fit for us.
And live on some down there.
I think our biggest why to it is our son.
Really fast.
He's been really our big motivator to moving into this lifestyle. He's active, he's so curious, he's adventurous, and he's dirty 95% of the time,
Yeah.
which is for us, I think that's how you have a happy childhood, and I think that's really how we wanted to raise him, and the farm just made so much sense to be able to kind of bring him up with that.
Tomatoes.
He'll eat vegetables out of the garden. He won't look at them out of the supermarkets a lot of the time. So it's funny. He'll go up in the garden and gorge himself on snap peas and kale and all kinds of stuff, but he won't look at it if it comes home in a grocery bag. So
delicious.
And that's part of what we wanted to show with the farm, is that it can be done together and as a family, and can be done sustainably.
I think finally people are realizing, and government is realizing, that we need to start producing our own food, and we are in such a wonderful position to do that, I think. And people always look at me odd when I say Newfoundland is in a good position to farm, but we have such a vast wealth of natural resources that help in gardening. If we have alkaline soils, pine needles work great. If you need micronutrients in the soil, our seaweeds are wonderful. You walk into our forests and there's so much to eat just by foraging. It's absolutely amazing what this province has to offer. And if we do things responsibly, working with nature and not trying to force, I think we're in a great position to do a lot of good.
To Europe now, the European Union has announced a sweeping new plan to combat climate change. The goal is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to 55% of 1990 levels by the end of the decade. The plan includes phasing out gasoline and diesel-powered cars by 2035, that's just 14 years, putting a price on carbon and a carbon border tariff that would require companies or manufacturers from outside the European Union that have less stringent climate policies to pay for CO2 costs when they're selling goods such as steel, aluminum, and fertilizers into the EU. Now, in this country, an international student who caught COVID is now stuck with a medical bill of more than $120,000. The young man from Uganda didn't realize that his health insurance that he got through school had expired until he made a stop at the emergency room. CBC's Stephanie Cram reports from Winnipeg.
Kelvin Lugalami was rushed to hospital in May with severe stomach pains. He tried to sleep it off, but eventually he told his twin brother he needed to go to hospital.
I think it's time to go to hospital. I need to be rushed to hospital because I feel like I'm losing energy, I'm dehydrated, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it. I don't know how serious it is, but I don't want to die at home.
Lugalami needed emergency surgery for an intestinal obstruction. It was at that point he found out his insurance had expired.
One of the staff members comes back and tells me, Calvin, unfortunately, we have run the system and your insurance just expired. And I said, wow, what? Wow, this is tough. But I said, the only thing I can do is to get help anyway. So run what you need to do. We can deal with that later as I try to grapple myself to get that sorted.
Lugalami was between schools. He had finished his time at the International College of Manitoba and was supposed to start at the University of Manitoba in September. But Lugalami says his school didn't make it clear that he needed to buy additional insurance to cover the time he wasn't in school.
But you can be able to purchase a certain sort of gap insurance, graduate policy insurance. I said, but I wasn't in the know of that. And I wasn't informed by neither the school because you guys have direct agreement with them. It's not with me. So, this type of information that needs to go up. I'm a newcomer here, I don't know all the rules like that.
2 days after being admitted to hospital, Lugalami applied for additional insurance, but his application was declined. The insurer told him his stomach illness was a pre-existing condition. But that wasn't the only problem. His stay in hospital dragged on because he caught COVID. He was in hospital for more than 3 weeks. The Canadian Federation of Students says this all could have been avoided.
This particular situation being a result of the PC government willingly clawing back Manitoba health cards from international students simply to save a few $1 million back in 2018 when they were more so seen as easy targets to reduce budget expenses because of their citizenship status specifically.
The province responded to CBC saying that supplemental medical insurance is available for international students through their schools. Lugalambi did make an appeal to Manitoba Health, but they said they could not help him. Stephanie Cram, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, now it's time for a look at the long-range forecast, Ashley, and that means looking ahead to the weekend. I really hope that we're going to continue having this kind of weather as we get into the weekend. It's just gorgeous out there.
It really is, and there certainly is lots of this in the forecast for some areas. However, it is going to be a little bit unsettled for others. Let's take a look at that future tracker just to show you. The best chance of seeing the rain at this point is going to be the west coast as we head through the day on Friday. And then same thing up across Labrador as an area of low pressure rolls through into the afternoon. Even the south coast of the island could see a chance of a few showers on Friday afternoon. Otherwise, the chance of showers will move through Saturday for central. May see a few spits of rain in the east, but it looks like overnight is when we'll see the slight chance of showers. And as we get into Sunday, Staying a little bit unsettled, looking like a mix of sun and cloud for parts of the island, but also maybe a few chances of showers in the afternoon through central and along the south coast. Otherwise, some clear skies at some point for parts of Labrador as well. So looking not too bad. However, temperatures now as we get into Friday, we're going to hang on to some of those warmer temperatures for areas like Cartwright, 27 degrees. However, back to the 17 to 22 degree range for the rest of the big land. And then as far as the island goes, there you go, another sunshine day for central and eastern areas of the island, 26 to 29 degrees, and then keeping that chance of showers pretty much for the west and south as the day goes on. 21 degrees in St. Anthony, 17 in Port aux Basques, and Corner Brook, you're looking at a high near 26. As we get into Saturday, keeping skies gray on the west coast, a little bit more sunshine in play, like I said, for central. However, the chance of showers will roll through. And then as we head east for the metro area, may see a few showers overnight, but most of Saturday should actually be absolutely gorgeous. 26 degrees, it looks like at this point, 28 in Grand Falls, Windsor, and then there's those cooler temperatures that'll finally make their way towards Labrador. Cartwright will see a daytime high in and around 18 degrees. Looking ahead, past that, Sunday, maybe a few showers in the mix for St. John's and Eastern Newfoundland, 22 degrees at this point, and then Monday, a return of that sunshine and 24. So overall, beautiful temperatures and overnight lows not going below 14 degrees at this point. So overnights will actually be really nice as well. For central Newfoundland, you're looking at temperatures staying in the high 20s right through Monday. Chance of showers will return on Monday. And then for western Newfoundland, Sunday and Monday actually looking fairly nice. Some sunshine, 24 to 27 degrees will be your afternoon highs. As far as eastern Labrador goes, a little bit of a dip in temperatures, like I said, on Saturday, but back into those 28 degree or at least high 20s for Sunday with sunshine, and then a little bit unsettled on Monday with a chance of a few showers, some sunshine as well, but you're going to sit around 24. And then for western Labrador, after that dip on Friday, temperatures will stay in and around the 21 to 23 degree range, and then the chance of a few showers. But overnight lows, it looks like Monday night, are going to dip down into the single digits. Now I wanted to share this photo, Maiden Tea Hill sunset in Burgeo. Julie Beggs shared that lovely shot with us, and if you have any weather photos to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
That is so cute.
Yep.
It really looks like the dog's enjoying the sunset.
Soaking it all in.
Yeah, exactly.
Ashley, you should have your dog down with you. Go first roll around Kitty Vitty Lake.
Of course I do.
Of course. Drizzle must be
couldn't
wondering.
leave the house without her today.
No, she must be wondering why no one's talking about her anymore. She's not hearing her name on air anymore because it's all sunshine, no drizzle.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's right. She's totally happy with it. But she's been so good while I've been sitting here. I had her in the back of the car, and she's just watching the people walk by, watching the ducks, the other dogs. Yeah, she's been really good. She's excited to go for a walk now, though.
Yeah, you got a pretty sweet gig tonight there, Ms. Brawweiler. You can take advantage of it.
I'd say.
All right. Well,
yeah, exactly. Might as well.
You go have a great walk, and we'll see you here tomorrow, unless you're going to be soaking in the sunshine once again tomorrow.
I might be. We'll see.
Can't blame you.
Lots of great places to go.
Have a good night.
We're going to play Where's Ashley?
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Enjoy the beautiful weather tonight.
See ya.